Hey guys, so in this video we're going to be checking out another micro camera from FXT. This one is called the Mars T70, and this one is in the 19 by 19 form factor. That is going to be the same size as the Runcam Micro Swift and the Foxeer Aero Micro. However, this one has a much bigger lens here. You can see it sticks out quite a bit. Now this is a pre-production version, and I've been told that they're going to have a shorter lens on here. It's an M8 lens, but I don't know why this one's so large. And they said that the production versions will have a shorter lens, and they have a little instruction manual here that has a diagram of what the production version should look like. And this is more typical of like the Micro Swift or the Aero Micro. So I guess with this bigger lens here, I wouldn't necessarily expect to see this one, so I'm not exactly sure what kind of lens you're going to get. But you can see otherwise it's very similar to the Micro Swift. And let me just bring one in here. We could take a look at it, and you can see that from the back here. You can see it's the same 19 by 19 size in the board, and pinouts are similar. It does come with the OSD plug here. My box did not come with the OSD joystick that the new Micro Swift 2 comes with. Is this one here. You can use the Micro Swift joystick here for the camera, and it will work. On the product description for this camera, it wasn't clear as to whether it would come in one or not. It says that it's optional, I suppose, and it may or may not come in one. So, however, I've got a ton of these joysticks sitting around in empty boxes, and obviously, if you have other cameras, you'll probably have something like this. So, it definitely does work for that. The difference here is that on the T70 we have audio, video, and then we have a power connection here for the on-screen display for the voltage reading. So this is more like the Micro Swift 2. This is actually the original, the Micro Swift 1, and I think the voltage range is the same, 5 to 36 volts. So similar pinouts. You get power, ground, and then video, and then here we have audio, and there's actually a small microphone right there. You can see a little silver button thing. It is kind of covered up. I didn't actually get a chance to test the audio out, so I'm not exactly sure what the quality of the sound is. I only discovered that there was a microphone here recently, so pretty sure it's, this is a typical microphone here. I think the audio is going to be fairly mediocre, not high def or anything like that, but it is available if you want to use it. And of course you have the voltage sensor reading, and they do come with a set of cables for that, and there's actually two sets of cables here. You get your standard cable here, which is just video, power, and ground. So if you just want to connect those and not use the OSD, which is what I did for the what I put this in the LoRa build, I actually just used a standard cable because I wanted to use the Betaflight OSD and not the one that was built in. And then they have the cable that's provided here that has the connections. I think there's 5 wires that come out here: red, black, yellow, blue, and white. And then obviously on the other end you have the little servo connections here, and then I think the white one is for power. If you want to solder that to your battery lead, and obviously you're probably going to want to cut these to length. They're pretty long, but they provide plenty of wire if you need it. So this is the wiring loom that's included. You also get the standard mounting bracket for the 19 by 19 size, along with Allen wrench and mounting screws. Now, some of the specifications here, let's just go over them really quick here. 5 to 36 volts. As a CMOS sensor, very important. I think I definitely have to mention that. The low light is only 0.01, so probably not too good for nighttime. You got 1000 TV line sensor. Now, the lens on here is an M8 2.3 millimeter lens. It's not marked, so I'm not exactly sure if I can confirm that or not, but it's saying that a 2.5 or 2.1 millimeter lens is also optional. And the default field of view is going to be 145 degrees horizontal and 184 degrees diagonal. My camera is an NTSC, and you can also purchase this in PAL versions as well. This does come with, I guess, supposedly called double wide dynamic range, whatever it is. It does have very good wide dynamic range. You'll see that in the video footage later. I thought it was fairly decent, and I'm going to do a side-by-side with the T70 and the Micro Sparrow, because that's actually more comparable, because the Sparrow has the CMOS sensor similar to this one. That's pretty much it. I'm going to go over, I'm actually going to plug this into a video transmitter, and then we'll go over the settings and take a look at what the video field of view looks like on the bench here. Okay, so I got the camera plugged in to a video transmitter, and I got the OSD joystick connected, and we can go through the settings now, and I'm just going to point it off to the left here. You can see the field of view. This is a standard. It's actually fairly wide, and I'm actually kind of surprised. So here's the bottom of the desk here. You can see the ceiling fan. The light is totally in view. This is a 4:3 camera, so it's very, very wide, both vertically and horizontally. So you can see well past the red box there, and there's the bookcase. You can almost see the door. So I would say this is definitely 145, if not more. Probably closer to 155 degrees, I'm thinking. Just my guess, but yeah, the image is very nice and clear. I just see if the camera will focus on the screen here. Pretty sharp image. Colors are very nice and bright. I've actually turned off all the studio lights so that there's no glare. So you can see there's the micro swift there. And you can read the Emacs box, the label on the box there for the flight controller. Very clear. It's surprisingly clear. So as you can see here, you've got your OSD from the camera, you got your voltage reading, your pilot name, and your power on time. So you get into the camera OSD, you're going to long press the joystick up, and then I get the familiar menu here. This is very similar to the one that's on the Microsoft. You can change your pilot name. You can turn off and on the individual items like your system name, time, power, horizon, and also change the position if you want to move it around. So those are all familiar. And also, if you want to adjust the voltage, which in my case, it was off originally. It was off by a couple tenths. You want to long press the joystick to the left, and then it'll highlight the tenths of a volt, and then you can adjust that up or down. So I'm going to adjust it to 8.3. So you can see you can change that. So that's pretty good. You can also, as I mentioned before, you can change the position as well, or you can turn them off if you don't like that. If you want to use, say, like a Betaflight OSD. Now, again, to the standard settings, you just short press the center button, and then you get into basically the camera settings menu. You can turn the wide dynamic range on and off here. So let's go into wide dynamic range. You can adjust the brightness and contrast in here. And you can actually turn it off, I believe. So you have wide dynamic range and ATR. I'm not exactly sure what ATR means. Or you just turn it all the way off. You can see when it's off, it's very dark, and this is actually how dark the room is currently right now. So I think you definitely want to use wide dynamic range. You're going to get better exposure all around. I don't know what defog is, but it's currently off, and this is all standard settings here, so I'm going to leave that off. Picture adjust here is your normal settings here. This looks very familiar and very similar to the menu that's on the Foxeer Mini Predator. So you can do the flipping of the screen. So you can currently it's off. You can horizontally flip. We've seen that before in the other cameras. And then you can adjust the brightness, contrast, sharpness, hue, and color gain. And these are the stock settings for this camera. Obviously, you can change this. I know that the stock settings for the Micro Predator is completely different from this. So it's kind of interesting. Actually, when I flew this, I thought this was not as quite as exaggerated as the Micro Predator, and but I thought it was better than the Micro Sparrow. So I guess we'll see here in a second. I'll show you the video footage later. And then here you got day night, and it's currently set to manual, and it's currently set to color, but you can change that to black and white or color. I think you can change that to automatic, I believe. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave that manual. Shutter, that's currently auto. Usually leave that alone. White balance. DNR is digital noise reduction, and has not exactly sure what these mean. So it says mode C, and there's off. There's Y and C. Y. So I'm going to leave that standard. And we have a lot of options to backlight on or off. I think that's backlight compensation, I believe. Yeah, HLC or off. And then you can reset the camera to default settings if you want. So definitely a lot of parameters to adjust in this little micro camera if you want to. Okay, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and show you some demo video. I got some side-by-side of this camera and the Micro Swift, I'm sorry, the Micro Sparrow, and then also some demo flight footage. I'll take you to that now. Okay, so this is just a little side-by-side footage of the T70 next to the Micro Sparrow, and it's a sunny day, and not going to really say too much about the image quality here. It's I think it's fairly good. The colors I think are fairly good here. The light handling is also fairly good. They're not quite as dark as the Sparrow and not quite as bright as the Caddx Turbo F1. So I think it's a little bit more neutral in terms of the color. But anyway, you guys can comment below and let me know what you guys think of the light handling and the color reproduction of this particular scene. Okay, so here's another sample of these two cameras side by side on a cloudy day. So you can see it's overcast. And I think that the T70 here definitely beats the Sparrow in terms of the shadow detail in the dark areas, because it's not quite as dark as the Sparrow. You just lose a lot of detail in the Sparrow. You can see more detail in the trees on the T70. I think I definitely like the T70 image here on the lower light handling or the darker cloudy days. Okay, so we'll finish off this review with a little bit of flight footage, and I got this on the FlexRC LoRa, and you probably saw footage of this on the previous review video for the LoRa a few days ago. This is actually a different flight. It's a sunny day. I think the other one is from a sort of partly cloudy day, so if you want to see a partly cloudy video from this camera, go check out the review on the LoRa. This is a very nice, bright, sunny day, and it's the wide dynamic range works really well on this camera. I think it's pretty good going in and out of shadows, and the exposure adjustment is very quick. It does still, because it is so bright, it does seem like the sky is a little bit overexposed, and sometimes even the ground. So this is quite quite a bit different than the way, like, say, the Predator works or the Eagle. It kind of reminds me more of what the Caddx does, the Micro F1. And if you want to see that video, check that one out. That's also from about a week ago. So a lot of CMOS cameras are coming out now with very good exposure handling, and they're very fast in terms of exposure handling. So you don't get a lot of like underexposed areas where like the ground is underexposed and dark when you're looking at the sky, for example. Everything is exposed pretty evenly in these CMOS cameras now. So definitely like the fact that a lot of these good CMOS cameras are coming out. Yeah, I think this is one, I like it. I think you should check it out if you're interested. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below as to what you think of this image quality compared to, say, the Micro Sparrow, the Caddx Turbo F1, the Mini Predator, the Eagle. Really interested to see what you guys think. How this image compares to some of the other ones. Obviously, I can't do side by sides against 5 other cameras. Just not enough time in the world to do all that. But you guys kind of know what those cameras look like, and can compare it to these other videos I've made. So let me know what you guys think. Anyway, guys, that's the end of this video. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.